Seattle Shredders, Naked Giants are back, and they have some exciting news. They've just premiered a new single called Regular Guy, which is available to stream worldwide. They've also announced a U.S. tour for 2022, and today I get to talk to them. Henry, Grant, Gianni, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So I'll start out with kind of a quick story. I actually saw you guys back in February 2019, and sometimes I make a playlist of the shows I go to, and you actually open with Regular Guy, and this whole time I thought that song was just like some weird delusion, and it wasn't really part of the set list. Then when I saw it was a single you guys were releasing, like just now, I was like, okay, so I'm not crazy. But what made you want to release it like later, and was it considered for The Shadow?
It was definitely considered for The Shadow. Yeah,
Okay.
It was recorded in the same studio session, which seems to be kind of a theme of ours now because, we released Slough. That was our first album.
Right.
And Green Fuzz came after that, was a little like EP in waiting for the next album. And Green Fuzz was actually recorded at the same time as Slough as well. So I guess we just seemed to keep recording too many tracks for the albums and then not being able to fit them all on the album, which ends up being good because then, we can kind of fill the time in between albums.
Yeah, definitely. And this whole past year, you guys have been releasing like different versions of songs and things like that. It's been really exciting. How do those like remixes and stuff come about? Like, do other people just kind of do this and hand it to you, or what's that like?
Well, each one's different. The most recent one was Take a Chance, which we released, and I believe we reached out to folks to ask them to create a remix with the stems of the recording.
Yeah, it was a pretty intentional thing because, we had never done any sort of, collaborations or features or remixes or anything like that. I think mainly because, like, we're still pretty new as far as, like, indie bands go,
Yeah.
Like, we just released our second album the other year. But yeah, it's a fun thing. I think we've all kind of like, especially after the pandemic, we've kind of realized how important it is to connect with other musicians. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially in the band world, I feel like it's very like, secretive almost, where it's like, you start a band and it's like that's your group, and
Yeah.
you're with those people. And no one else. And I understand it's not always like that. But
Right.
for us, it kind of felt like that was how we had to do it. Like we had to make our thing that was special.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like especially recently we've kind of realized how important and joyous it is to work with other people and kind of get their takes on stuff that we've kind of like come up with.
Yeah. Did you find it difficult to keep momentum going at times during the pandemic?
Yeah, we did. We took a break from even. I don't think we saw each other for months
Okay.
at a time, and that was partially due to the lockdown and our own safety. But I think also in part it was like a really needed reprieve from all the touring and time we'd spent together to just take time to focus on ourselves and our own lives, and then it kind of recontextualized coming back to practice for us, I think. So it wasn't all a bad thing, but it was definitely unprecedented and unexpected.
Hearing that word a lot. So circling back around to Regular Guy, I love the video for it. You guys are known for some like pretty creative and funny videos. Just a question: whose VHS collection is that in the beginning?
Oh, that's my VHS collection.
Cool.
There. Oh yeah.
Star Trek.
I still need to watch those movies. I'm actually rewatching The Next Generation right now. So I think once I get to the end of that, I'll just start in chronological order.
Wow. It just reminded me of we have some friends, I don't remember when or where this was, but they just had a VHS collection of only Jerry Maguire.
What?
It's like the Honcho Poncho
Of course.
guys. But anyway, it just came back in my mind that they had like 100, like as if it were a normal collection.
Were they tapes of the live thing, or was it like season 1 of Jerry Maguire
Well, it's
on
just
VHS?
the movie.
Oh, I was thinking of Jerry Springer.
No, the Tom Cruise film.
Okay.
Wow.
So just
Video.
had like
Is that the thing that was like, da-na-na-na-na-na, and he slides in with the t-shirt?
I believe
that's
Risky Business.
Yes.
And you might be confused. That's actually Michael Bolton in Michael Bolton's big sexy Valentine's Day special.
I think wasn't Jerry Cantrell? Didn't he have a cameo in Jerry Maguire? I
Did
think
he?
that was yeah. I think
Wow.
he was like he was at I think there was like a Xerox place or like some copy place, and he was just like the guy who worked there, and he was there for like a minute,
Oh, okay.
and that
That's
was
funny.
it.
Classic.
That's how you become great, man. Hang your balls out there. Thanks.
I think that was yeah. It was just such a weird cameo when I saw it. But no, speaking of like Jerry Cantrell and Seattle, so you guys are obviously a Seattle band. Do you guys really think that like Seattle is like? Do you really identify with like the current scene, and do you really feel like you've got your roots there? Like, are you proud to be a Seattle band?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, and a good way to phrase it, because
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people, they think of like the kind of legacy
Mhm.
of Seattle, whether
Yeah.
it's like Jimi Hendrix or Heart or Nirvana
Yeah.
or, the million 90s bands or whatever. But that's a good way to put it, is like having roots in the scene. And I don't know, what I always come back to is like just how fortunate we are to have a scene.
Yeah.
Because after having gone across the country and like stopped in some little towns in Montana and,
Yeah.
Butte, that kind of stuff. Like, not everybody has the ability to just like find people to play music with. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And so I think that's huge. And again, another thing that we're even more appreciative of, on the long kind of come down from COVID, which it's definitely not over. I don't want to be getting people's hopes up yet. But as we're kind of coming back to the world, I think it's it's something to appreciate. If you have a scene in your city, like, don't take that for granted anymore.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Do you think like that scene influenced you a lot as a young band?
I don't know if, like, I think, yes, undeniably in like a more unconscious way,
Mm-hmm.
but not consciously. I think sometimes we actually try to avoid the association
The labels.
because
Yeah.
it felt almost like a pigeonhole
Yeah.
situation.
Mm.
But I think at the end of the day, we all have lived here our whole lives, and like beyond just the music scene. I think as we've gotten older, at least I feel this way. Like, I identify a lot more as just a Seattle person, and I think there's a connection between the music that's come from here and that. And I think it maybe took me longer to understand and take a little more pride in that.
Totally. Something Henry brought up not too long ago was like, how much of what you think is cool is defined by what other people think is cool. And I didn't really think about that. I remember you were saying it like in terms of the pandemic, is like, we haven't been able to go to shows, and especially like the house shows and DIY stuff. That's like where all the really cool artsy people are at.
Just
Also
where
the
art
kind of
is happening.
also the kind of frat bros, but like I like the cool artsy ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking back, like that's I feel like that really shaped me. Like, I remember going to Office Space, which was like this DIY venue that looked like an office, just in kind of central Seattle, and seeing So Pitted there, who we've ended up becoming friends with,
Okay.
and management mates. They're on Sub Pop,
Yeah.
FYI. But anyway, I remember seeing them like when we were first starting out, and just being like, "Oh my god, okay, this is the coolest thing ever," and I want to do something like this. You know what I mean? And I think it's actually funny that you brought up like not being consciously influenced by the scene, because I think we're a little bit different in that way, and we've talked about this, where it's like I see stuff and I'm like, okay, that's cool, I want to copy that and do exactly that, whereas you maybe take the more of the digestive route.
Yeah. Do you guys have like a lot of contemporary inspirations?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm always
Crickets.
crickets. Well, yeah, it's funny because we do like older stuff, and when we're like driving in the van and whatnot, it's all these CDs of like, I don't think there's much past the year like 1996,
Yeah.
which is when we were all born, which is kind of fun. But anyway, yeah, I do think there's a lot of really cool shit being made these days. And sorry, I hope I can say the S word.
Yes, you may say the S word.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like, but it's not often that it's like in our genre, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like, for some reason, it feels more exciting to hear new stuff that's like not what we do, and I think that makes sense because we already do it.
Yeah.
So like, I'm thinking of artists like Sneaks from New York, who's definitely more like, I think she started in more of the kind of new wave, like drum machines and bass thing, but now she's gone in this whole like electronic direction, which I am really quite fond of. And it's really cool to like look at what people are doing to push other sorts of genre boundaries and seeing how we can do that in our own little rock bubble, you know?
Yeah. You guys did that a lot on The Shadow. You guys had, sounds like a lot of different influences for some of those tracks, because you guys are really big on, I feel like, stylistic diversity. Like, you have a lot of different sounds. Like, you've got a funk track, you've got another slower song with Turns Blue. What genres do you think you were inspired by for that album?
Yeah, no, again, it's like, I think a lot of it came from the touring that we were doing during the writing of that album.
Okay.
Was like, I'd say from 2017 to 2019-ish. And it was kind of going from, we had been this kind of like, again, DIY venue, house shows, small clubs, band, to all of a sudden touring with Car Seat Headrest and playing these like theaters and whatnot. And I think there was some room to grow into, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Especially in the live context where it's like, okay, we now not only have a 30-minute set with 30 people in the audience, we have, a 45 to 50-minute set with 1,000 people in the audience. And it's like, how do you stretch to fit that? And I think that that kind of explains why we reached into these different kind of stylistic zones, is because it's hard to keep people's people's energy and attention up when you're playing like one garage rock song after another, after another, after another. It feels easier for us to get some depth by dipping into those different influences. And they're all, like rock adjacent, kind of stoner doom metal or like new wave and kind of post-punk and whatnot. Dave Matthews Band, I don't know.
Dave Matthews sneaks in there.
I don't think it's often, sometimes it is, that I don't think it's often like a direct influence that could be like, oh yeah, this song is
right.
Like really feeling like it was, like I was saying, Take a Chance. I was feeling like Beck and LCD Sound System vibes.
I definitely see Beck in there, yeah.
But I don't think I like wrote it and was like, yeah, I'm like Beck vibe. I think it's more like all our, especially from touring in the van and listening to music and all listening to our own music. And just being a songwriter, at least for me, I feel like I try to like abandon that when I go to write. And then obviously all my influences are swirling around and will come out in my expression of music onto my instrument. But I'm not necessarily like, yeah, this is like directly influenced by this.
Do you guys find that it takes like more effort out of you to write stuff that's not necessarily in like your go-to genre, or does the music kind of find itself there?
Yeah, I feel like it. Sorry, were you gonna say something?
No, I was just gonna like riff on it, but yeah, like, oh no, I lost it. Sorry, I'm so sorry.
No worries. Yeah, no, well, because I was gonna say like, I think something that we've become more aware of the songwriting process, and I'm sure a lot of bands can relate to this, is that like certain styles will just like stick easier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we play guitar, bass, and drums. It's a little, and we grew up listening to like classic rock and garage rock and pop punk and whatnot. And so it's a little easier for us to just fall into like a simple rock groove.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. Or like even literally just before this, we were at our practice space and it was like, okay, it's in like 15 minutes. And I'm like, let's just do a quick doom metal thing. And we literally just like ripped into it for 5 minutes just for fun. It's not like that's going to make the record, but I think the fact that we can just improvise, it's like give me a suggestion, and then you can riff on a style. It's a good way to like brainstorm. You know?
Yeah, I do think that the further we get away from like that guitar, bass, and drums based rock format, or that prescribed thing, the harder it is to complete a song. Like, because it just takes a lot more thought and arrangement skills and like other skills that a band can't just necessarily do with guitar, bass, and drums in their practice space. I think we've been trying to push a little more in that direction of like, arranging more. But sometimes it's just like a lot easier to do what we know.
What does that songwriting process look like for you guys? Do you find it easier to write as a group, or like does one person bring an idea to the group? How does that usually work?
If I can just say one thing about songwriting, I feel like especially with Naked Giants, the underlying common denominator, and I've noticed this recently, is time. It's just time. Like all the songs, like it might come one day and we might share it, and there might be a demo that exists or a voice memo of us all riffing on it. But really it's like we'll come back to something a month or 2 months or 6 months later, and it will just be there all of a sudden, I
Yeah.
think it's really cool.
Yeah, totally. I agree.
Yeah, I think that is the thing, is like certain songs stick. So we all write a lot of music on our own, and then we use our best, instincts to kind of try to feel out whether it's a song to bring to the band or not. And, sometimes one of us might be really like passionate about one song, but at the end of the day, once you bring the song to the band, it's like Henry was saying, it kind of just like enters a different world than your own head and becomes like in the band atmosphere, where it might fade away and then come back 6 months later. And if it doesn't really work, then it doesn't work. And there's no real point in being too sad about it. But sometimes maybe it doesn't work in 1 year, and a year later it's like we've all changed a little bit, or the song has taken on a different meaning, and that might work.
Totally.
Yeah.
They're like seeds. Like we each bring a seed, or sometimes we bring a little handful of seeds, and we, and yeah, and some of them, some of them grow, some of them don't. That's the way it goes.
Yeah, so it's been over a year now since you released The Shadow, and I think there was a lot of time between recording and release of that album too, to where I was like reading some other interviews, and you guys were all kind of like interested to see what other people thought of it, because just in that time that it took to release the album, you guys had kind of changed a lot. So do you think now, a year out from that album, do you think you've, gone in a different direction as well?
Yeah, no, it's kind of like, I feel like music for us has been this kind of like a diary of sorts, where it's like each album is like a moment in time, and obviously while we're writing it, that's who we are in that moment. And like you said, by the time it gets released, that's who we were,
Right.
a year or two ago. Even some of the songs on The Shadow were written while we were writing our first album, Slough, which is 2017, and so that's that's weird to think that it's already 4 years ago, but yeah, there's a whole lot of that goes into it, and I think it's like it's weird because I think, like I said earlier, The Shadow was kind of us growing into this new format of the theater stages and kind of becoming a national touring act, whatever that means. And now it's like, I don't really know what we are anymore. You know what I mean? Like we've played 3 shows in the past 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's kind of just whatever pops out when we get together. And in a way that it's like a kind of back to basics thing, because we started the band just like 3 teenagers jamming in a basement, and now we're just 3 mid-20s somethings jamming in a basement.
Yeah. Are you guys really excited to get back out on the road again? Like you said, it's been like 2 years. It's been a while.
It's weird. We've all talked about this briefly, but I'm curious to see what comes up now, because it's like Grant said earlier, we got like pretty burnt out on touring before the pandemic.
Right.
And I think we've done a lot of like mental health work, the three of us as individuals, to the point where it's like we're really approaching touring next year from a completely different angle. And for me, it's slightly nerve-wracking because I'm like, I know that that's an environment that cultivates anxiety sometimes.
Yeah.
Just being constantly on the move and these like short packets of energy bursting and then like 5 hours in a van and whatever. But I think in general, it feels like we're taking off from maybe more stable ground, if that makes any sense.
Good.
Do you guys have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think I'm looking forward to finding a new stable ground. So I don't have any much different to say other than that, like, I'm also, anticipating it with nervous excitement.
Mm-hmm.
But my excitement is even more for like the downtime now than like the stage time, because I'm hoping that will like the frantic energy can be kind of quelled by like more togetherness and good use of downtime and enjoyment of like the experience, and and less like frantic showtime, socialize, get in the van, just God, but it has to be some of that. It's unavoidable
right.
that's just the work that it is. But we're just gonna have to wait and see, I guess.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff do you guys like to do in your downtime on tour?
I was just about to say, and I was just waiting to interrupt Grant because he's like, I'm so excited for the downtime. I'm like, oh my God, I cannot wait to just play card games in like every moment, like just to collect and like relax and focus. But we played this one game called Shithead that is so fun. And then you can just play it over and over. And
Never gets old.
I'm so excited for it. Yeah, we'll just get so into it. We can have a running score or something so that would be cool. And then just drumming, like I just, the feeling of drumming with those microphones and the adventure, it's pretty epic.
Yeah.
You got to keep a good outlook on it.
Yeah.
I think it's also going to be interesting. Like in the past, I've really wanted to soak up like a little bit of every place we went, because traveling to new places, and that I still am excited to do. But maybe like I think we've done it before now, so it's going to be more like stay backstage. I'm going to try to get them playing a little Magic the Gathering, maybe. And we're going to see how that goes. Settlers of Catan.
That's a good one.
I don't know. Charades.
Charades.
Charades. That's fun. Yeah.
I would play charades.
Yeah.
That could be really fun. It'd be great. That'd be a funny thing to do with the audience. Like if someone, like for a string break, or if my snare pops.
Let's
something.
play charades.
Wow. You take somebody up, you give them a mic. Yeah.
Oh, I foresee a lot more coffee too.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
I think we're gonna become like a coffee band, where it's all about the coffee.
Yeah.
Brew some coffee on the road.
Yeah.
Oh, like we can, like I found a good, like we could do a coffee tour almost.
Yeah, a little coffee tour.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys are headlining this tour, which is really exciting. I feel like a lot in the past you've really just been like opening, like you opened for Car Seat Headrest for a couple years. Obviously, like you were on stage with them too, but like now the focus is on you. Do you feel like as an opener, like there was less stress maybe because not everyone was there to see you, or do you feel like there was maybe more to prove as an opener?
I think more in the latter. It's and that's kind of where our original shtick came from. Was we have this short amount of time to win over the audience who's never heard of us before. You know what I mean? And that leads to this very like bah, 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 kind of energy. And I think something that we picked up from the car seat tours is like when you're headlining, you have so much more breathing room to just like play the music. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm excited for that. I think in the couple shows that we've played, we've played 3 shows over the past couple months. All these kind of outdoor festival type things. and it's been really fun to have, a couple of them were like hour and a half long sets. And it's been really fun to work in, like, we worked in these guitar solo intros, and like really setting the vibe, you know what I mean? And I think there's just different parameters you can work with when you have that kind of like headliner's energy, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think it makes it easier to like take the stage? There's maybe less stress because everyone's just excited to see you? Or now do you think you have to live up to people's expectations? Like what is it there?
I think both. I think initially I responded to the former, like it's just going to be nice to, we have the comfort of knowing like, okay, these people paid for their ticket to see us. They're here still. They didn't leave. Not that we're that anxious, about like whether people like us or not. But, being a new band, sometimes it really is that. You're like, are we going to do this? Do people like us? Do they want to leave halfway through our set? And so it'll be nice to be like, all right, we can just wait and see what it is. It will be what it is. Do our best and enjoy the night as opposed to proving ourselves. But also, I mean, we want to put on a show that's worth the, I don't know how much concert tickets even are anymore. They've gone up, gone down, but make it really worth people's while so they feel like happy, safe, healthy, and like they've, their hard-earned money went to a place that hopefully it's worth more to them than the money they spent.
Yeah.
Or the time that they drove to get there.
Yeah.
We meet some people, I drove 2 hours. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Let's go.
No, don't do that.
Out of music scene.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was going to say, like, living up to the expectations sort of kind of question. It's more of like, how well can I tap into myself? How true can I be to Henry right now for this show? And then just remembering to have fun, because it starts with us, and then the room has fun. So it's like I'm constantly like this, like I'm having fun, which is a weird thing to whisper to oneself, but sometimes you have to like check in and be like, this is so fun. And it can really like cleanse the clouds away.
Yeah.
For sure.
Helps to audibly recognize that sometimes. You guys never really got a tour for The Shadow. You never got to promote that. So is that kind of the goal of this one?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and which again is weird because like, by the time we're touring it, it'll be a year and a half old to the public, which makes it 2.5 years old from recording, which makes it, 4.5 years old from writing it. So it's like, this is not really new music anymore. But I think, yeah, I know. But I think part of the fun of it is like, the songs always tend to kind of develop on the road. And that's partially what this whole like alternate versions releases over the summer has been for us, is like imagining how these songs would have developed, maybe not on tour as a rock band, but like in a video game or whatever,
Yeah.
Which has been a lot of fun. But I think there's still plenty of life left in the songs, and even in the couple shows that we played recently, kind of revisiting these songs from The Shadow, it's like it makes them more. It kind of like validates the songwriting, because it's like you said, we put it out and we were like, oh, I guess we'll see what people think, because we're not going to be interacting with people.
Yeah.
And now we get to kind of not only see what people think of it, but see how these songs still resonate with us while we're playing them on the stage, which is really quite a beautiful thing.
What's your favorite live show that you've played?
Wow, that's a tough one. And
it'd be funny to come up with a culminating answer that we've all like thought about and agreed upon, and it's like, this is
best one?
That'd be a funny I mean,
I remember really liking, we played in 2019, we did this probably, so wait, where are you located again?
I'm currently in the DC area. Yeah.
Okay. Wait, did you see us at the 930 Club?
I saw you guys actually at Ram's Head Live in Baltimore with Car Seat
nice.
Headrest. Yeah, that was a good show.
Baltimore show.
So yeah,
I remember that.
that tour.
Gothic.
I believe it was that tour was the biggest one we had done to date because we circumnavigated the U.S. basically. We left from Seattle, went across the top part of the U.S., went down the East Coast, and then back across the South. The very last leg of that tour, coming back up the West Coast to Seattle, one of the last shows was San Francisco when we played at this venue called the Bottom of the Hill, right?
Yep.
Which is this really cool, quirky place with the checkered black and white floor, weird furniture and stuff. And we were just so happy to be on the West Coast after we had driven through a blizzard in Minneapolis. We had gone up to Canada and come back down again. Just ups and downs. And yeah, we played the Bottom of the Hill with Twen, who are one of our favorite touring buddy bands.
Cool.
And another band called Nobody's Baby, who are from the Oakland area. And I just remember it was such a culmination of we've been on the road for a month and a half. We're so close to home. Mm-hmm. Everyone at the venue was so happy to see the show. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I just remember it being a really, really good show.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Oh,
I'll throw two out. The Bug Jar.
I had Bug Jar.
Really? In Rochester, New York. Great. We were with Ron Gallo, and we did this big encore thing every night, which was fun. And then Amiens, France.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
it was
great one.
That was the pirate. The venue was called La Lune des Pirates, which means the pirate moon.
Okay. Beautiful.
And it was we were playing with Car Seat, and we were doing these theaters, right? And this place was super small, almost like a black box type of thing. I mean, not that small, but had these kind of bleacher-esque risers for the audience to sit on. That was a beautiful one. In just the middle of nowhere in France. Yeah.
Ooh, that was fun.
And they fed us next door at the restaurant, right?
Yeah.
They came around, they were okay, what would you like, sir? There was no menu. They were just you want pasta? You want the chicken or fish?
Oh, man. I remember that show, I used Andrew's kit. We couldn't use both kits because the stage was so small. And I was just the whole time I was playing my set, I was man, Andrew has this thing set up so oddly. It's like Dave Grohl's kit. And I was just the cymbals were so high. I was reaching for them. I was man, I just need some gloves or something. Anyway, silly. Oh, those are two really good ones. Yeah. I was going to throw Bug Jar out there. But you know what? Personally, I think when we played in Toronto at that bigger place.
Yeah, I can't remember what that place was called.
Dan
Marino?
Danforth Hall or something.
Oh, you had a good one there.
Yeah, because my grandparents were in the crowd.
Mm.
And it was that. That was a nice show. Yeah, that was cool. And I just feel I was I left the stage feeling zero errors. There were zero errors. If I was looking at it like a sports game, it would be there were zero errors, and it was a lot of fun. So I think good feeling.
But who's keeping score?
It's music, it's drums, it's passion.
Exactly.
You mess up, you do it again.
You guys mentioned, obviously, it's well known, you guys were part of Car Seat Headrest's touring band for a good amount of time. And I was before this, I was looking all over the internet trying to figure out a legit story for how you guys met, and I couldn't find it, And so what's the story there?
No, it's nothing mystical. We played a show together.
Okay.
Henry,
I was just curious.
Oh yeah, that's true, yeah.
You met Will at Ground Zero.
At Ground Zero.
It was a teen venue in Bellevue, Washington.
Yeah, in the suburbs, east of the city, tucked away in the woods. Ground Zero. place where you could just send an email and get a set, you know.
Cool.
Yeah, met Will there, and he was playing with Andrew. You can see it on YouTube. Just type in like November 2014 car seat headrest, drunk drivers, killer whales.
Okay.
Here, you can click the link here, and there it is. So
Now I got to figure out how to add that in. Thanks a lot.
I met him there, and I think he had just gotten Andrew from Craigslist as the drummer.
Wow.
I think it's really funny and
Yeah.
great. Anyways, and then I told Will to come see Naked Giants, and then he came, and then
We toured
buddy
together.
buddies. And we toured together in 2016.
Oh, just opening.
Just opening.
That was
Okay.
one of their first tours, I
Big,
believe.
yeah, the
Like,
first big ones.
and that was one of our first tours.
Yeah, it was our second tour.
Whoa.
And then a year or two went by, and then he reached out about something,
Something or other.
playing in the band or some business.
One
One thing
world
led to
tour.
another. You know?
But you know, like go out, play those shows, sub for your friend on the music, because I was just helping a friend out at that show, and then I met Will, and just then
True.
we all got it together. I was literally just playing drums for a friend who needed it. So if you're watching this and thinking, you know, oh, I just, you know, sometimes it's good to be in other bands and doors open.
Definitely.
So, yeah, gotta love the scene.
Yeah, collaboration is huge as a young band. I was wondering, did Will help you guys get to working with Steve Fisk? Because that's like huge for your debut album. That's pretty awesome.
Right, which I don't think we realized at the time.
Yeah.
But no, actually, so our label, New West Records, our A&R person, Kim Bowie there, who's awesome, hi Kim, she knows everybody somehow.
Okay.
You know, she's an A&R person, that's her job. And so she recommended Steve, because they had known each other for a while. And then we got sandwiches with him, and we talked about
Dane.
at the Dane.
Dane.
And we talked about Negative Land,
No longer around.
and then that's how it happened. I think, you know, we knew the Car Seat guys, but not like we weren't like buddy with them yet.
Yeah.
And yeah, so Steve was like had just done that album of theirs, and I guess he wanted to do more young men in modern music.
Yeah, but it would have been nice if he had done like a 90s mix of one of these. He was really good at making the 90s
Yeah.
mix.
Yeah, Steve has this whole like back discography of just like weird kind of experimental electronic music that I had no idea existed.
Yeah.
So we talked about Car Seat Headrest a little bit. Did you start touring nationally with them, or had you been an opener for like other bands in the past?
We had done a tour with the band Dude York. And
Another Seattle band.
I've heard of
Seattle
them.
band. You know, we played at a sandwich shop / bar in Portland. Can't remember the name. Nobody was there except for the customers in the restaurant.
The first show.
The first show on our first tour, which I thought was awesome.
I think it was called the Back Bar or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back bar in Portland.
Okay.
Something.
Like
Yeah,
a
it might
brunch
have
bar
been
or
it.
something. Yeah.
Brunch bar.
Back brunch.
I remember it.
Yeah, I remember that. And just like we had done that tour, we played in Denver, and there was a blizzard in March, and at the Walnut Room.
Wow.
And yeah, and that was another, like there's a lot of, yeah.
Yeah, and then our second tour was opening for Car Seat, and we did a few more
Yeah.
with Ron Gallo and like that.
Blum.
Yeah.
Ron Gallo. White Reaper. Oh,
Oh yeah.
touring with White Reaper and Ron Gallo is like super fun.
So
Can't
do
imagine,
like-
dude.
I love White Reaper.
Yeah.
It was like touring with Jimi Hendrix.
with Eric Clapton in the van. He never played. He was just there. I don't know why. Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. Circling back to videos, because I think I only asked like the one question about your music videos. How do you guys think of those? I just, they're just so entertaining. You know, what gives you the idea?
Thank you. Well, I mean, like Grant said, you know, we're good fans of good films and movies and whatnot. But it's also a big collaborative thing. And I think, you know, if we haven't, like these recent remixes that we've done are the first kind of musical collaboration. But the music videos have always been a nice way to like reach out with people, especially doing other art forms in the music. So that's really cool. Like the first music videos that we did for Slough for that album were with this guy Sean Downey, who's in a band called the Fabulous Downey Brothers, which are great. But yeah, he's full of these like zany, wild ideas, and so that's where like the Everybody Thinks They Know music video came from, and the Slough thing. And TV was actually something that I think Grant had the original concept of, like checkered room, and we're all wearing checkered outfits and that kind of stuff. And then after that, we started kind of doing them semi on our own, and then half with my partner Celestine, who's a budding filmmaker of her own. She did the Green Fuzz music video / short film thing, which was link in the description.
Cool, more work. Thank you.
which is a whole lot of fun. Tip jar, the virtual tip jar. That was a whole lot of fun, and she's been helping out on all the music videos that we do by ourselves as well. But it's really just like, we have a song. How can we make the song interesting to watch?
Yeah.
How
can we? Yeah, I like telling a story with it. I like our friends being in it, like reaching out and making something happen, like as DIY as possible if we can, And then it's like really nice to have the It's I like having the like consistency of like Sean Downey did all the ones for that album, which is not limited to, but they do exist, those three, and then also like all the ones Celestine's done. Like they have like Celestine and you, like they all are very much a part of our creative auras.
Yeah, I think this is more, I guess, forward-looking, but I think this is for all of us. But I know for myself, music, when I listen to it, often brings about visuals, or an imagined scenario or a mood, like, kind of thinking in a scoring way, or just like what this song would fit with. And sometimes I feel like music videos might just come out of being like, what film, what would this be in? What scene, or what does this feel like? And I'm not sure we've done many videos yet that are exactly brought about that way, but that's often how I think about music videos.
Yeah.
Just fun.
Would you want your music to be in a film?
Of course.
Yeah.
We were just talking the other day about like doing a live score of Lord of the Rings, but it's just like completely doom metal the whole way through,
Yeah.
Like Sauron comes out and it's
Oh yeah, it'd be great if we had to do the Foley as well. So like if there were sword fighting, it would be like all of us hitting the cymbal stands with drumsticks.
Wow, yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I could
battle.
The entire series, the director's cuts, we're just playing for 10 hours. That would be pretty epic, yeah.
It'd be really funny to see those movies with only the audio of the voices, but no Foley or sound effects.
Yeah.
Just talking.
What do you think your music fits into in terms of like film? Do you see a connection there? Like, do you guys get inspired by film?
We've been our music's been in a couple shows and a movie or two, but those have, I can't pin down what exactly stopped. Like a lot of skiing movies, to be honest, and snowboarding. Like I think there's a certain kind of like rock to like any adventure sport.
Yeah.
But I think with The Shadow, it hasn't really had its day yet in that regard, and maybe it never will. But I could really see some like Netflix teen series.
Oh, totally.
With some like turns blue action or. Stuff like that,
Yeah.
Because the modern series are really good these days. These like
The soundtracks.
Well, yeah, just soundtracks and just like the way they're filmed. It's kind
Mhm.
of like a movie but longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Nine Perfect Strangers. Okay, so good.
oh, is that good?
Oh, it's great.
I
Oh,
don't
a great
watch it.
soundtrack. I love when a show you'll hear a song that you've heard before, and then you'll be like, "Oh, that is a great song. I didn't even like see it in that way."
Oh,
Right.
like recontextualizes the
Exact-
whole
yeah.
experience.
Like, blinded by the light, when I'm not losing on a night. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So, about this tour, do you have an opener for the tour?
Yeah, we're working on that. We're kind of splitting it up into legs, like an octopus. So for each region, we'll have a different opener. I'm sure it'll be announced by the time this comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but We're having Enum Claw, who is like a very 2021 buzz band in the Seattle area.
Okay.
For good reason, and
They're
they're
great.
exactly kings of self-promotion. And I told them,
And song.
yeah, we played a show with them not too long ago, and I told them that like if somebody went to their show who was like who didn't like music at all, they would leave an Enum Claw fan.
Wow.
They're just so like they get you, you know.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, so they'll be joining us for the kind of Pacific Northwest dates, which is awesome.
Cool.
We've got a band called Wombo to join us for the kind of southeast, you know, the Carolinas and Georgia and all that. I can't remember where they're from. I think they're from like Louisville or something. Just one of those towns in that area.
You can check out Wombo here.
Great. Yeah,
we're
go check them out, guys. It's right there on the screen.
And I think as of recording, that's all we have booked.
Cool.
But yeah, more to come.
Nice. Are there any messages that you want to leave people with? You know, they're excited to see you.
Wow.
What you got to say?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, be safe. Use your best personal judgment. I think people are nowadays really coming into kind of confrontation with like, okay, every decision I make impacts everybody. But ultimately it comes back to me, you know, like what is the best decision for me in this moment? So yeah, that's my message, is just be aware of how you fit in to everything else. You know what I mean? Wear a mask. That's not a bad thing to do. You know, as we say at our shows, don't touch anyone who doesn't want to be touched. That's not a bad thing to do. All these kinds of things that I think don't quite make it into the public school system that I think should be like more common messages.
Mm-hmm.
Be aware.
Yeah. Come out and just let it go.
Yeah.
You know, take the opportunity to just have a good time in your own way, in your own space, and let go. And also communally, you know, feel the power of community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And feel free to buy some merch.
Yeah. Always a merch plug.
Yeah, we made these bucket hats. Well, we
Those
didn't
are
make
awesome.
them. Knife Press made them.
We got that right there.
Yeah, I'll be grabbing one of those for sure.
Yeah. Super fun.
All right, cool. Well, thanks, guys. Really appreciate, sitting down and talking with you guys.
Thanks,
Of
Jack.
course, same.
Yeah.
It was great.
Go listen to Naked Giant's new single, Regular Guy. Watch the video. Buy the tickets. Buy the merch. Yep. They're an absolute joy to experience live. Thanks for being here, guys. Can't wait to see you out on tour.
Thanks, Jack.